Joining me now is former New Jersey governor, former 9/11 Commission chairman, and Task Force on Extremism co-chairman Thomas Kean. Governor, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what are you thinking about 17 years later? You led the 9/11 Commission, a bipartisan group of senior national security experts hosted by the U.S. Institute of Peace. You certainly worked to revise our country's counterterrorism approach as the co-chair of the Task Force on Extremism. In regards to America's safety, what can you tell us we've learned since 9/11?
Well, when we issued our report, 9/11 Commission, we suggested, first of all, you had to destroy the terrorists where they were. Secondly, you had to harden our defenses so we wouldn't have another attack like that. And third, you had to prevent future extremism. Now, look, we've done the first two pretty well. The third, we haven't paid much attention to. And what this task force report today is suggesting that unless we focus a little bit on the so-called fragile states of the Middle East and the Horn of Africa and the Salil, that if we don't do that, we could have future terrorists. We get 5 times more terrorist, or no, 10 times more terrorist attacks around the world now than we had at the time after 9/11.
So do you think there are things that need to be done that are not being done right now? How would you characterize our response in these last 17 years?
Well, our response as far as protecting our own country has been pretty darn good. We made a number of recommendations in the 9/11 Commission. Almost all of them were implemented. We're much harder to attack today than we were on 9/11. But as far as where terrorism is coming from, the failed states, the so-called fragile states, we haven't done very well there, and they're continuing to be a problem. They're continuing terrorist sanctuaries, and unless we do something about them, then we're going to have future terrorism attacks. And it's much easier, frankly, to help those states now and become stronger than it is to send the army and all those billions of dollars and lives and everything else we might have in the future.
So what was your most important takeaway from the 9/11 Commission report?
Most important takeaway was that the United States was not together. The FBI didn't talk to the CIA. All sorts of government agencies were not working together. Had they been working together, most people feel that 9/11 might have been prevented. But they weren't working together, and our recommendations almost forced them to work together. And so this report today is a logical extension of our work in 9/11. That's why Lee Hamilton, who was my vice chairman in 9/11, and I are working together really to make sure that we don't lose sight of it and continue the bipartisan effort on national security.
So in other words, one agency may have seen some commentary that the terrorists were planning something. Maybe another agency had other information, but the agencies weren't sharing the information.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We had the FBI was aware of certain things. The CIA was aware of certain things. They were following different people. They weren't sharing information, and therefore it was an uncoordinated approach, which ended up having terrible consequences.
You, along with Lee Hamilton, you just mentioned the former congressman, you'll be recognized by the Bipartisan Policy Center with the Patriot Award today in your honor. Congratulations, and thank you for your contributions to the country. What does this award today mean to you?
Well, it means a great deal. You know, first of all, working with 9/11, working with the families has been one of the great pleasures and exciting things in my life. And to be recognized with Lee, who's a great partner, and for that work is one of the most meaningful things that's ever happened to me. So I'm humbled by it and very grateful.
So today, when you look around at what the state of play is today in terms of terrorism and the cells, you mentioned this a moment ago, how should we feel in terms of what we're dealing with?
Well, what we've got to worry about is that we've hardened our defenses, no question about it, in this country. But as long as we allow these failed states to exist, or failing states to exist, terrorism is going to breed there. And when they breed there, eventually they want to attack us at home. So we've got to go where they're breeding. We've got to make changes there. We've got to make sure those states are not failing anymore, that the people in them have some sense of hope. And that kind of an approach, humanitarian approaches, other approaches, is frankly a lot cheaper than using our troops to go over there. And as we know, that's cost us billions and billions of dollars and lives. So our suggestion today is for the Congress and the administration to look at a new approach that really deals with preventing terrorism in these various failed states. And hopefully, if we do, we'll be a lot safer in the future.
That was one of the plans of President Trump, which is why this administration says that they've been able to get ISIS out of Iraq. But now we see that ISIS has moved to Africa. It's moved to, obviously, in Syria. So you're saying the allies, the U.S.-led allies, need to go where they are.
That's right. Need to go where they are and help these states so that they're providing services to the people, that they're providing just infrastructure, water, normal kinds of things that we'd expect in a civilized state. But a number of these areas can't do that, and that's where these terrorists move in. And if we do preventive measures over there, working with our allies, working with other countries, we think this is a bipartisan effort. We think the Trump administration, the Congress should come together on this. And one of the few bipartisan things these days we all should be able to do together.
You're absolutely right. Governor, let me ask you, you worked so much on that 9/11 Commission report. How long were they planning to blow up the trade towers? How long were the plans in place by the terrorists?
Oh, they worked 3 or 4 years on it. And of course, they had a sanctuary in Afghanistan to do it. And so we didn't know what they were doing. They were working in a sanctuary in Afghanistan, and they were able to plot and plan and eventually pull off that attack. But it was the fact they were able to work together in a state. We said never again should terrorists have a sanctuary in order to plot and plan an attack on the United States. And again, that's another reason for hoping to work with these failed states so that we don't have any more of these terrorist attacks again.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all your service, Governor, and thank you very much for your leadership. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Maria, thank you very much.
Governor Tom Kean there.